Everyone was silent every single time I had a question for the class. Not even Charlotte had my back. And halfway through the lecture, all my notes said were improvise about Toby and Maria's relationship for 10 minutes. Why would I even do that to myself? That was not my finest hour. I feel ridiculous and humiliated and exhausted as I leave at the end of the day. I'm thankful for how quiet the evening is as I walk home. It's beautiful out, at least, so I decided to take the long way home as a consolation to myself. A small consolation, though. All I can think about is how shitty the entire school day was. I can't help but wonder if I'm just not cut out for this job. I can never get my students to engage with the work. I don't know if I'm actually teaching anything. And most ridiculous of all, I spend more time dealing with student drama than the curriculum. I think maybe it's just about time to conclude that my life is going to suck no matter what I do with it. I don't really mean that. I'm not about to get depressed about it, and I'm way too old for that. I just sure wish I could reach my students is all. It's killing me. That's all that's on my mind as I walk home. I'm so distracted it's not for a while that I notice the sound of footsteps. It's otherwise a perfectly quiet evening, save for the footsteps following behind me. It's almost a little eerie. After a few minutes, I finally yield to my curiosity. I turn my head over my shoulder to see who's there. Strange. Utterly strange, both the outfit and because these side streets are always empty, and she must have been following me for a good 5 minutes now. I just keep walking. Why? Why didn't you stop her? Why? Why? Is she talking to me? I keep walking. Her spirit isn't at rest. Why did you let her die? That strikes a nerve. Confused and baffled, I turn to face her. What? Are you talking to me? She says nothing but nods. Leave me alone, please. I don't know what on earth you were talking about. I turn back and keep walking, but then she responds and I can't help but shiver. Isabella. Shocked to hear her name, I turn around, intent on confronting this strange, creepy woman, but she's nowhere to be seen. Just completely and utterly vanished. What? I don't know what the hell to think as I hurriedly walk back home, but none of it is good. I find myself unsettled by the whole thing to absolutely no end. I end up dwelling on it all weekend. It's really important that if you haven't started to think about what you're going to do for the big creative project, you think about it now. They're due in 2 weeks, so if you don't at least know what you're doing, you need to figure it out immediately. You can talk to me after class if need be. I'm finished early again. Before I thought it was because I was planning better. Now I just wonder if my classes aren't just getting shorter and shorter, and that's bad. Alright, well that's it. I guess we're running a bit early, so I'm going to let you go now, but please take your time going to the cafeteria, alright? There's no need to rush. That's all. They all slowly start to leave, and then I realize, no, only 2 have actually left. Everyone else is just milling about kind of aimlessly. You're all welcome to stick around in the classroom and eat if you want. Thanks. Sup, Akira, why aren't you with your boyfriend? I'm about to speak, but then I realize there's nothing I can say with honesty. I know exactly why he's not with Nolan, but I can hardly say that, can I? Yeah, I thought you were spending your lunches with Nolan. Well, he's apparently working things out with Taylor. Privately, no big deal. It's good that they're making up. Oh, shit. Kendall. I'm sure it's fine. Better that she stops raging so hard over getting dumped, bro. Yeah, 'cause Taylor is totes the type for forgiving. Let me tell you, bro, I would not trust my girlfriend anywhere near her if I didn't want some sort of drama clusterfuck. Kendall! I'm sorry, you guys, she's not very cute when she's being inexplicably hostile towards friends. Lol, friends. Come on, knock it off. Really, it really is not endearing. I'm sorry. Come on, let's keep it civil here. It's not a big deal. People talk to their exes all the time. It's not something worth getting worked up over. Everyone turns awkwardly quiet as I hope they realize I'm right. The conversation never returns though. Kendall and Akira just turn to occasionally saying something quietly to the other, Charlotte frequently looking like she might have something to say, but then she never actually does. Ariana sits on her own, her attention alternating between her computer and stealing glances at me. I don't think she realizes I notice, so I pretend that I don't. Everyone seems to be paying more attention to their computers than to each other in general. It's the most awkward sight I've ever seen from an ordinarily social group. Hey, sir, I was wondering, have you ever read a novel called Digital Shinigami? It seems like it would be right up your alley. No, I don't think so. Who is it by? Eriko Yamazaki. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Nope. Any relationship? Is she some distant cousin of yours? Nah, my grandmother actually, but she really was a big sci-fi writer in like the 1980s and actually is kind of cool. Wow, I never knew that. That is really cool. For reals, bro, although it's a lot like some of the stuff we were reading earlier this year. You don't say. I'll have to keep my eye out for it then. What's it about? Well, do you know what a Shinigami is normally? I don't believe so, no. Lol, here's where Akira turns into the biggest weeboo ever. I have absolutely no idea what she just said, but Akira gives her the dirtiest look. What the fuck? Weeboo? I'm actually Japanese. You mad, Kendall? Ah, lol. Remind me again where you were born? Oh my god, shut the fuck up. We were having a conversation. Anyway, Kendall just smirks to herself, clearly having gotten in a very clever insult. If only I knew what the hell it was. Aw, man, what was I talking about? Shinigami. Oh, right. Anyways, they're a sort of death spirit. Sometimes they carry your soul to the afterlife, or if you die with regrets, they might try to put them right before they can move on. You know, stuff like that. They're not usually supposed to be that big on the haunting thing, but it happens. Huh, that's interesting. So it's kind of like the Grim Reaper. Sorta. Except you're more likely to get a cute girl in a yukata than a skeleton in a robe. Also, no one actually believes in the Grim Reaper. Anyway, the book's about a sort of futuristic take on that. You know, modern death spirits now have to cope with technology, that sort of thing. It's totes rad. He keeps going on, but I get caught up on his original explanation. It sounds just a little bit too familiar. I'll have to look that up then. It sounds interesting. I make the motions of continuing conversation with him, but my mind is completely elsewhere. There is nothing more in life that I hate more than marking tests. Even when it's not that many at once, it's just an absolutely excruciating experience. The literacy level isn't as bad as some people like to exaggerate it to be, but somehow that doesn't help when you're evaluating answers like, the lady's problems were that marriage was necessary and Cesario's cross-dressing identity mistaken. Thank you, Taylor. I'm pretty sure that's not a sentence, at least not in any language I speak. How the fuck do you even begin to mark something like that? They're not all that bad. Well, most of them are, actually. Charlotte's answers are at least comprehensible, but that's just because she's writing what I said in class. Verbatim in places. I end up bumping everyone's marks up so much that the class average is a low 80. If everyone's having trouble, then maybe that means it's my fault. No need for them to suffer like that. Okay, I will be handing back your tests at the end of the period. The class average was about 83, so good work, everyone. For the last unit before the independent study and the exam review, I am going to give you something much easier than the last few have been. I know you're all exhausted, so now we're going to be taking a look at some short stories, specifically Edgar Allan Poe. It shouldn't take more than half an hour to read the first. Once you're all done, there's a couple questions that I'll put up on the board to answer, but they're all very straightforward. This isn't going to be strenuous. I let them go to reading. I didn't really have any intention of presenting this as being easy, but given the abysmal test scores, I think I need to restrain myself. They're clearly all struggling. As I copy out the easier questions I prepared last night, that's all I can think about. Maybe this is just not my week is all, or maybe it's just not their week. The class seems as stressed as I am. Well, I never did expect this to be an easy job. My walk to school is quiet, as always. I'm really grateful that I'm not in the middle of a terribly busy neighborhood. I can just take the quiet side streets all the way there. I arrive as early as I normally should. No surprise, the classroom is empty. I got to clearing up my desk and getting my notes ready for class. I've been there for only a few minutes when there's a knock on the door. It's strange, it's open, and that never happens. I turn to look as an unfamiliar woman walks in. Excuse me, are you Mr. Rook? The office told me I could find him here. That's me, I'm John, but you have me at a disadvantage. What? Her temper seems short. Never mind, how can I help you? I'm Ichigo Yamazaki. I understand that you're my son's homeroom teacher. Oh, so you're Akira's mom. Yeah, that's right. Maybe you can explain something to me then. Does this school not have a strict policy about bullying? Yeah, of course. Then maybe you can explain why my son immediately locked himself into his room when he got home last night. And maybe you can explain why I had to deal with his poor boyfriend knocking at our door in tears. Do you just not care about bullying when it's gay students? Is that it, Mr. Rook? Because I am certainly not paying tuition for teachers to be Whoa. No. Please calm down. She was about to accuse me of being homophobic? And I know that Akira broke up with Nolan, but what does that have to do with me? I had no idea. For what it's worth, I thought Akira and Nolan's relationship was extremely healthy, and I encouraged it. That's a lie, of course. I completely failed to encourage it. But I don't think that's the right thing to say right now. But I'm not responsible for them breaking up. It's hard for both, but that's just a part of being a teenager. It's out of my control. Do you know why they broke up, Mr. Rook? No, this is actually the first time I've heard of it. I can think of at least one reason why, but I can't admit to that. She never said anything to him in front of me, and he never told me about her messages. As far as I should know, it didn't happen. Then maybe you should be paying better attention. Akira showed me a series of harassing messages that this girl Taylor had sent. It's completely unacceptable. And yesterday she cornered him at lunch to tell him that, quote, a fag like him could never make Nolan happy, unquote. And that he was being selfish for dating a straight boy. Can you imagine how hurtful that must have been? This is completely unacceptable. What are you going to do about this? She said, what? Okay, that is most definitely grounds for dealing with her. I'm as shocked as she seems to be. That's absolutely appalling. I never thought Taylor would stoop that low. That is appalling. I can't believe she'd... Miss Yamazaki, you have my utmost assurances she is not going to go without reprimand. It is not acceptable. I promise you, ma'am, I will straighten her out. We do have a strict anti-bullying policy, and I am personally shocked and offended by her actions. And that's the truth. I should hope so. I just want to make it perfectly clear I do not want to be an antagonist. Akira likes you and says that you're a good teacher, but if I ever have to hear about her doing this to either my boy or Nolan again, then she'll be expelled. I'll see to it personally. It is not okay, and that's the bottom line, Mrs. Yamazaki. Okay, that's good, and I'm glad to hear it. I have to get to work now, but I'll be keeping up. You seem decent enough. I'm sorry we had to meet under these circumstances. I am as well. She turns to leave, and I ask her one more question. Wait, Mrs. Yamazaki. She turns back to face me. Yes, Mr. Rook? How are they doing? Is Akira doing better? I'm glad you asked. They're back together if that's what you mean. Akira was feeling vulnerable, but Nolan, the sweetheart, stayed over all night to make sure he was okay. I think he's doing a lot better now. Nolan was furious, though. He was holding in a lot when he heard what Taylor had said for Akira's sake. He was trying to be brave, but I worry about him. That's rough. He always seemed sensitive about the subject, too. Oh, so you understand. Well, I think he'll be fine. They're a good influence on each other. Just please deal with Taylor before Nolan makes a rash decision. I'm about to object to say that sounds awful threatening. But to be honest, if I had someone do that to someone I loved, I would probably do something stupid as well. I'm not going to hold it against either as long as he doesn't act on it. I will. Thank you. Goodbye now. Bye. Tough words from me talking about having her expelled. I have no idea what that process is like, but tuition here isn't exactly cheap. It would probably be very difficult. Not that Taylor knows that. It's a good threat anyway. I really hope it doesn't come to testing it. I go back to sit at my desk, trying to get my thoughts back in order. I'm going to have to deal with Taylor later, of course, but I still do have a class to teach today. I start to focus on that, reviewing my notes just to be sure as the class slowly comes in. Hi, Mr. Rook. Hi. She goes to sit down without saying another word. I guess she can probably tell that I'm stressed. Eventually, the rest of the class starts to file in, although I'm really only interested in a certain pair who come in at the same time. Wait, Nolan, Akira? Hi, sir. Sup? Oh, I'm sorry about the uniform, but it's... Relax, no one cares about the dress code. That's not what I was going to say. Oh. I heard about what happened. I'm going to have some very strong words with her, so Nolan, I know you're probably still angry, but let me handle it, okay? Fine, you're going to deal with that bitch? I can tell he's holding in a lot stronger words than that. He's probably more than a little embarrassed. He wants to be the strong man, protecting his boyfriend, I imagine, but it is better if I deal with it. Easy, I'll talk to her, but you have to be calm. And Akira, next time there's something wrong, tell me right away, okay? Okay, sir. Thank you. You're a bro. You're welcome. I just wish you told me. I would have dealt with it sooner. I am so sorry you had to deal with that. Thank you, sir. I sit back down at my desk watching Nolan comfort Akira before they take their seats. I've never seen either like that before. I can tell beneath the calmness Nolan is definitely angry. I can't imagine how he must be feeling. This must be the most goddamn emasculating experience possible, and I definitely feel bad for him. Hard to feel like a man when you have to get your boyfriend's mother to get your teacher to deal with your problems. There's no shame there, but I bet he thinks there is, and it's gotta be painful. Finally, the entire class arrives and I get ready to start. Before I begin, Taylor. Yeah, Mr. Rook? In my office right after your last class. Is that understood? Okay. Good. Now on to the story that you were all supposed to read last night. That's it for the day, well, as far as classes go anyway. I'm still not sure how I'm going to deal with Taylor yet, but I'm definitely going to make it clear that's not to try to What the hell kind of sentence is that? I'm definitely going to make it clear that is not to try this sort of bullshit again. That doesn't make sense. Like, I've let a lot of the sort of, like, retarded things go by, you know, the things that just don't make sense and aren't really real sentences, but that's really bad. Hi, Mr. Rook. Hello, why don't you have a seat? She sits down, trembling. What is this about? Taylor, do not insult my intelligence. You know exactly what this is about. Oh, is this about Akira? What did he tell you? He seemed really upset at me for some reason, like he was blaming me for... Oh, hell no you don't. I don't even want to hear what ridiculous story she is going to tell. I preempt her, deciding on my approach and how should I handle this. Angry as shit. No, shut up, Taylor. I am not interested in the bullshit, okay? She seems taken aback, at least now I have her attention. It's about time someone stops putting up with her bullshit. She's been getting away with it because it's behind my back for far too long. I heard the whole story. With all given respect, what the hell is wrong with you? If I didn't know you better, I wouldn't have even believed it. This is the archetypal crazy ex-girlfriend story. You are a cliche. You are an insane cliche. Oh my god. Alright, I meant like when we were going angry, I meant like angry, but still professional. This is not okay. Like, this is not professional. This is not how a teacher reacts. If any of you watching this are teachers, no! How could you possibly be such an awful person to him? Did he not just consider his feelings? What could have convinced you that harassing some poor boy into dumping his boyfriend was okay? Do you just not understand how horrible that is? I don't care. Fine, put his feelings ahead of mine, let the girl cry, but rush in to defend the boy. I don't care about his fucking feelings. What? What do you even have to say to that? cite the school policy because apparently I don't know, I want to be angry with her, but the writer for this is either like it's you go all the way or you don't go far enough. Well, you'd better start caring because the school's policy is very clear on this matter. Anyone causing persistent, deliberate emotional distress can be expelled without refund. She goes quiet, realizing just how serious I am. Expelled is probably a big word when your father's paying for your expensive private school tuition. There's a long pause as I let that sink in with her. Well, that's retarded. That's bullshit. That's retarded. So what, Akira gets to be totally sheltered at my expense? What's that going to be like for him in the real world? He's not going to be able to go crying to his teacher for help there. Taylor, in the real world, what you've done is called harassment. Any employer would fire you on the spot for it. I'm being really accommodating here by giving you a second chance, and I don't have to. You could be expelled, and I am willing to do it. Come on, all you have to do here is be a decent human being and not treat a boy like shit. Is that hard? Is that really so hard that you have to get yourself expelled for it? She goes quiet. She can tell, I hope, that there's absolutely nothing she can say to dig her way out of this. She sighs, and she seems to swallow her pride. Fine, you're right, it's not. I know, just cut the shit, okay? I don't know what your problem is, but you are abusing the people around you, and it has to stop. Look, go home, Taylor, just go home. Just think about what you've done, and then don't ever do it again. Just don't. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. The indignant look on her face is gone, and now she's just quiet. Just don't be a bitch, okay? That's all I'm asking. Don't be a bitch and you won't get expelled. Simple. Okay. That's all, you can go. She walks away quietly and I don't have a clue what she's thinking. Was I still too harsh anyway? Not harsh enough? I don't know. I really do not know. How do you not know? That was horrible. That was bad. That was really bad. That is not how you handle a situation. When I clicked be angry and take the angry approach, I meant don't just be all cool, calm, and collected and be and because sometimes because I was recently a teenager, I know that taking the whole professional bland emotionless approach that tends to not work with people like her. So by putting emotion into it, that's what I meant by taking the angry route. And by taking the angry route and turning it into that wasn't what I wanted at all. And if I could go back, I definitely would pick the calm approach because that was not okay. I guess that went as well as it possibly could. I've been lying in bed for the past hour and I just can't get to sleep. Every time I started to drift off, all I can think about was how awful things went today. Just absolutely awful for everyone. But before I continue, I should check those messages. What is... Oh my god, that's the girl in this street! Oh, she's sending me messages on my private what? That was interesting. Another weird mix of people in class for lunch today. Well, not that weird, I suppose. I feel tired and awful. I didn't get much sleep last night in the end. So, Taylor didn't show up for class. Lol, and not a single fuck was given that day. Oh, come on. I'm not going to defend her, but she has a lot going on. She doesn't deserve that. I'm sorry, but I can't really disagree with Kendall. What she did was just appalling. While I completely agree, let's not gossip about it, guys. It's been dealt with, and I don't think that what we need is more talking about her behind her back. Whatever. Alright, sorry if you say so. But before I continue... Okay, at first it was kind of cool, but if this is really going to be oh, I should check my messages, the indicator's blinking, then this is all it is, I really hope the developer isn't that stupid. Sleep deprived and what? What the hell is going on with all of these messages? They remind me of Isabella, of course, and I have to wonder, could I have helped her anyway? Or would things have just gone as poorly as I did with Taylor? And what the hell is going on here? At least the Taylor thing is explainable. She has fucking problems. But this, what is going on? End of chapter 5. I don't think it'll be of much interest, but I have been specifically asked to pass on this message to everyone in my class. The Midwinter Dance this year is going to be held in conjunction with the DCTI, a public high school a few blocks away. Apparently this means they'll be able to afford to make it quite an extravagant affair. It's semi-formal, tickets are $80, and it's on December 7th, which isn't actually midwinter, it's like 2 weeks before. Outstanding. Well, if anyone's interested, let me know. I put the note away, rolling my eyes as if there's anyone in the class who would care anyways, I figure. None of them really seem like the types for school dances. Now, moving right on to the homework from last night. So that is it, and damn, that escalated really fast and totally did not go in any direction I was hoping it was going to. I am still really having problems trying to figure out where the hell the story's going. We're 5 chapters in, but we just got to the 6th chapter, and someone told me there's only like 7 chapters. Like, it's a really short game, so it's like, if the story's gonna take off anytime soon, like, now would be the time. Like, I really feel like if the Shinigami thing and Isabella's suicide were supposed to be a big part of the story, then that should have been like the Shinigami should have showed up like maybe chapter 4 and not this far into the story. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Sitting around the shop can be a little boring once you're done comparing pulls, so using this time to go out for a snack or a drink run is a really good idea. What I do suggest having in advance, though, are sleeves. People will generally just use the cheap